This is the tutorial for Chapter 4, Section 2, Slope of the Line, Day 2. And so we're going to review what we had done yesterday, and that was find the slope of a line. So if I start with this point right here, since I have just the graph, I'm going to just follow what that line tells me to do. I'm going to go down one space to the elevation of that point. And so again, going down one would represent a -1. And then I had to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. So I went right 5. And so that represents a +5. So my slope is always the change of y values over the change of x values. And so what I do, well, I changed in the y direction one space. I went one space down. I went in the x direction 5 spaces to the right. So my slope is -1/5. Where this other one is going the other direction, notice how it's going uphill from left to right. And so notice I have to go up 1, 2 spaces. So I went up 2. And going up 2 is the positive direction. So I went up 2 spaces and then over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I went right 6 spaces. So right 6 means a +6. So the slope of this line is 2 to 6, which is the same thing as saying 1/3. And that is my slope. And so if I look at 1/3, you notice that I could have gone up 1 and over 3 spaces and ended up on that line. Up 1 over 3 brings me to this other point. So looking at this line, it's a horizontal line. So here I don't go up any spaces. So it's 0 over, and then I go up, 0 up, and I go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 over. So this is 0. So that horizontal line has 0 slope. And for the vertical line, if I look at the slope, I'm going up 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, but I go over 0. And this we cannot have. We can't have 4 parts of nothing. It's like saying, I'm going to give you 4 pieces of cake, but I have nothing to give you. So I cannot give you 4 pieces of cake. It doesn't make sense. So when we have that, we call this undefined slope. So that vertical line has undefined slope, where the horizontal line has 0 slope. So let's take a quick look at those rules there. I have them summarized here. So we have positive slope when it's going uphill from left to right. And then when it's going downhill from left to right, so the line falls from left to right, that's a negative slope. Slope of 0 is when it's a horizontal line, undefined slope when we have a vertical line. So on some of the problems we have to just 2 points. And we can find that slope by taking the difference of the y values over the difference of the x values. So I'll start with 1 minus 5. So I'm taking the 2 y values here and subtracting them. And then down below, I'm going to put the 2 x values. So since I started with the 1, I've got to start with the -3. So -3 take away -1. So I add the opposite, and I get -4. Add the opposite here, I get a -2. So the slope of this line is 2 to 1, or just 2. The 2 negative signs cancel out there. Here it says, is it more difficult to walk up the ramp or the hill? Well, the ramp, what we have to do is compare these two. And so when we compare, we're looking at which one is greater. The absolute value of the greatest one is going to be the steepest slope. So again, the absolute value of the greatest slope is the most difficult to climb. And so I say the absolute value because sometimes we could be heading uphill or downhill. In this case, we're going downhill, so it's a negative slope. So I'm going down 6 spaces over 8. But again, I'm going to take the absolute value, which when I go ahead and reduce it, I can divide by 2 over 2, and that gives me a 3 over 4. On this one, I'm heading uphill from left to right, so I'm going up 8 spaces over 12. So I went up 8 over 12, and when I reduce this slope, I end up with, dividing by 4 this time, I end up with a 2 over 3. So let's find out which is bigger. Is it 3/4 or is it 2/3? Well, just multiply by the other's denominator. Multiply this one by 3 over 3, this by 4 over 4, and you'll get the same denominator, so you can compare the numerators. So this makes 9/12 and 8/12. So I see that the ramp is greater than the hill. So we say the ramp is more difficult to climb because the slope is greater. And I should say because its slope, go ahead and fix that right now, because its slope is greater. Well, let's move on to the next problem, and here it says that we have the pitch. Okay, so pitch, carpenters refer to the slope of a roof as the pitch of the roof. Find the pitch of the roof. So we want to find the slope. So we are doing the rise over the run, the change of y over the change of x, and it's going up 4 spaces and over 12. So I just go ahead and reduce that fraction. Take out the common factor of 4, and that makes 1 to 3. So it means it's going up 1 space, 3 to the right every single time when we go ahead and go up that line. So those are types of problems. One more thing I want to look at that you might end up experiencing. Sometimes they talk about the grade of a road. And so sometimes a grade it can be how it's going downhill. If a road's going downhill, they'll give you the grade. And the grade, typically they refer to it as a percent. So this is, let's say, maybe this is a very steep slope, so let's come up with a one that's not so steep here. And so you can see how this road would be much easier to go down or up than this road here. So let's say this one has a 10% grade. And so the 10% grade means that it's going in the, if we change that percent to a fraction, it would be 10 over 100 is what that represents. So that means we're going down 10 feet or up, depending on which way you're going, and we're going over to the left or to the right 100 feet, and so, or 100 units. So 10 units up or down, 100 units over is what that represents. So those are types of problems you're going to end up seeing on tonight's assignment. Good luck.